For over 2 decades, I've been wrestling with one question. How do we create and sustain authentic and effective experiences for Black students on college campuses? When Trayvon Martin was killed, everything inside me fractured. The answers I had inherited stopped making sense to me and to my students. I went through a wilderness of realizing that the theology I was taught contained subtle and pervasive elements that could not hold the weight of what was happening in the world, in my ministry work, or in me. I wasn't just grieving, I was unraveling. Everything I had been handed was steeped in ways of seeing, ways of being, and ways of knowing that were foreign to me. The version of Christianity I received offered order, but not justice. It offered answers that didn't feel like truth. White theology had failed me. It was dead to me. And I couldn't keep doing the work I loved, leading and teaching and showing up for students while lying to myself or them. And then I read Toni Morrison's Beloved. What struck me about Toni Morrison's writing was how she named the geography of oppression. She called it yonder, that place where the white gaze is prevalent, where it demands to be supreme, where it insists on defining everything and everyone. But then she showed us the clearing, Baby Suggs holy in the clearing. Here was a place that refused yonder, that rejected its definitions, its violence, its attempt to name and claim Black flesh. In the clearing, Baby Suggs wasn't asking permission from anybody's theology or anybody's system. She was creating sacred space where Black folks could put down what they'd been forced to carry and pick up what was always theirs. That sermon in the clearing, where she tells them to love their flesh, to love it hard, that became my resurrection technology. Where white theology had died, Baby Suggs' sermon in the clearing brought something back to life in me. And out of that resurrection, Black Modern Mystic was born. I'm Tamice Spencer Helms, and Black Modern Mystic is my attempt to bring you the voices, thinkers, and topics that brought my dead faith back to life. Everyone you meet, everywhere we go is curated to aid in the spiritual liberation, freedom, and justice for us all. Today, I'm joined by Reverend Dr. Starlette Thomas, who understands this resurrection technology intimately. For her, Baby Suggs isn't just a character, she's a living presence. This is episode 1 of Black Modern Mystic.
Over on the Lord's side, over on
The voice you
Lord's
hear
side,
is the voice
over
of Starlette.
on the Lord's side,
When she encounters Baby Suggs in the clearing, this is the song she chose. And when I asked her what drew her to the character Baby Suggs, this is what she said.
Baby Suggs is my grandmother. Baby Suggs is Sister Eva May, who is my first theologian. And she sang that song every time she got ready to testify about where she wanted us to be. It was her testimony, but also the way in which she evangelized. And she would turn to us to bear witness. Ain't you glad? Then say something. Help me pull these people over to the other side. And she sang it every Sunday. But she is Baby Suggs to me. First theologian, first Sunday school teacher, first preacher. Who told me to love myself. He said, don't worry about what happened to you. Your body's still good. God still loves you. And you're worthy of care and affection and devotion. She taught me to love my flesh.
In the book Beloved, Toni Morrison calls this carved out space where Baby Suggs preaches the clearing. So I asked Starlette, why would Toni use those words to describe that place?
Well, it's a place where we get clear on who we are really. It is a site for somebodyness, and to make those declarations there, and to reclaim your flesh, not as defined by white body supremacy, but how we should see it, apart from the white gaze over yonder. I love the clearing because it is a free space. You can move your feet freely to the rhythm of your own beat, and you get to determine the pace, the setting, the adjectives by which you love it, and it's an act of defiance. I love the way she unravels centuries of harm with her tongue. It is a loosing. We have to get clear on who we are really, apart from these racialized categories. We've got to organize ourselves another way. And we've got to get clear on that and why that's important. We've got to we have to steal away from spaces that do not love our flesh. And before we can do that, we've got to love it. We've got to love it.
One of the most beautiful songs or spirituals born out of slavery is a song called Steal Away.
Steal away, steal away to Jesus.
It was a coded song that was sung by the enslaved to call a secret meeting. These secret meetings were called hush harbors or brush arbors, where the enslaved would steal away into the woods or swamps to sing and to pray all night. Even though we don't have a record of these hush harbors, what was going on there? Because whatever was going on there was important for Toni Morrison to call us to remember through the character Baby Suggs.
The ring shout, the ways in which we encircled ourselves and really just protected ourselves from all the ways in which we were being viewed. That we were going to let God have God's way, and we were going to have our way in that space. And if we got to steal it, well, then it was worthy of taking. Sometimes you have to reclaim your time and do it your own way. It is an act of defiance. I love it. It's a bodily autonomy that says, I have a say in the way in which I'm going to show up in the world. I have a sense of dignity. It's people making free spaces in the midst of oppression. You can't tell me they don't have imaginations. It's incredible to imagine yourself free when you've never seen it. Sight unseen, you decide, I'm going to create this space. I'm going to go far, far away and with nature. I'm going to tap into creation and do what comes naturally for all of us, which is to worship the Creator. I'm going to do it unashamedly, unapologetically, and I'm going to create for myself a theology that says I'm a human, I'm somebody. I'm worthy of love and affection and adoration and protection, and I deserve to be free. I was born free. That's what it means to me, and I think people need to steal away now. When you're in spaces that don't love your body, that don't love your flesh, don't love the way that it shows up, steal away. Get away from it, far away from it. And you may have to create that space yourself. It may not be the best place. We don't have the institutional backing some of these churches. So it may look, a little shabby. But go on up under those trees and get clear on who you really are.
Early in her career, Toni Morrison was critiqued for not centering something she called the white gaze. I asked Starlette a little bit more about the white gaze and what it has to do with yonder.
Just know that the white gaze ruins everything. I remember serving at a church, being called there, everyone saying that I was called there. The pastor at the time was a European-American male. I was the first African-American woman, first African-American period in leadership. And they wanted it so much so until the dynamics started to change. The numbers started to change. That minority majority, the way in which they were organizing themselves, it became obvious. And it ruined the fellowship. I was preaching. We had 2 services at the time. A visitor stood up, a European-American woman. She identified herself as a pastor. And she said, I'm praying for you. I said, I'm sorry. It was during our prayer and concern time. She said, I'm praying for you. And I wasn't clear. I asked her to speak up and I wasn't sure where it was going. She said, they're going to vote to put you out of here. They want to keep the church white. This is 8:30 in the morning. And I had seen the people who had went over to her. Devastated me. The two-facedness of whiteness. And that we'll choose whiteness and privilege and power in God's house, house of our own making, no less, over our fellowship. That leaven, it's upsetting, it's unsettling, it makes a mess of things. I don't think I'll ever be that person again. Persons have reached out afterward. People left the church altogether. Folks fell back into addiction. It was an awful experience for all of us involved, and we never got over it, all because of white body supremacy. It's a social fiction, but it's also a religion fueled by hatred. There's no other way for us to say it. It is about making sure that there are somebodies and nobodies. There's always an us and a them. It's a false binary. It's developed by relationships of ruling, who's out and who's in. It goes against baptism. How about that? Yeah, it goes against that, smack dab against that. Recreated. We're not supposed to pass down traditions of hate. It's also a superstition. All right, none of it is really real. We just make it up. And it's also a curse. Brian Bantam says it's a word we've made flesh. It's something we put on, we embody. Even though that same Paul that we like to quote, the Silence Women, said there's only one flesh for humans. Just one. And that people don't physically color, we're not physically colored black or white or yellow or brown or red. These are, Henry Louis Gates says, these are arbitrary constructs, not reports of reality. Charles W. Mills calls it a contract. It's an agreement. It's an arrangement that I will take and you will give. It's foolishness is what it is. To suggest that God would create some better than others, that God would create me a little lower than you, because you are socially colored, racialized as white. It's heresy, right?
When Starlette says that white body supremacy is a heresy, she's drawing on the thinking and writing of the late father of Black liberation theology, Reverend Dr. James Cone. Starlette talks about his impact in her life and on her work, and what it has to do with Baby Suggs and the Clearing.
But he got me clear on a few things. He's probably one of the reasons why I sing. That Spirituals and the Blues book got me all the way together. When I realized how much truth, how much resistance, how much refusal, how many passages, how many nooks and crannies I could get into and hide in. You talking about stealing away? I could lose myself in and you couldn't find me? When he taught me that you can go to a place in a song and I could be with them, that they've never really left me, that all I have to do is raise my voice, and then up above my head, I hear music in the air. There must be a God somewhere. You're telling me my ancestors are singing that and all I got to do is sing that and that cloud of witnesses is with me? Yeah, James Cone did that for me. Yeah, he put a song in my heart quickly and gave me a righteous respect for the spirituals and all who sing them. That's important music. You don't get to the Hush Harbor any other way. You don't get to the Clearing any other way. That's a North Star. That's a way to light your path. You have to open your mouth to see that. It's just impossible. I don't come this way other than by the musicality of those songs. I really do feel like there's freedom in the air. And that when those notes are lifted, that it takes me somewhere else and that I can get really clear on where I'm going, on where I'm supposed to be. I understand why the ancestors would sing. It's important that we repeat it. I think there's a knowledge, there's an awareness, there's a deep knowing in it, and that you have to keep singing it. And when you get tired of singing it, you get into moaning. Once I start moaning, then I get to rocking. There's an embodiment there. You would say there's a technology there that takes us to a place where we are free, like really free, not just in your mind, in your heart. In your spirit. And you really can't get to me. And I can tell you no in a minute. It's an ancestral no. It's a Negro spiritual no. Okay? It's a down by the riverside. Hell no. It's generations back. I'm saying what my ancestors could not. And I say it with my full chest. There's a Hush Harbor in me. There's a Brush Harbor in me. And we do a lot of singing and dancing there. It's a clearing. It's its own personal clearing. Baby Suggs is there.
At the end of the interview, I asked Starlette if she would perform Baby Suggs' sermon in the Clearing, and she agreed to do so.
When warm weather came, Baby Suggs Holy, followed by every black man, woman, and child who could make it through, took her great heart to the clearing, a wide open place cut deep in the woods nobody knew for, at the end of the path only known to deer and whoever cleared the land in the first place. In the heat of every Saturday afternoon, she sat in the clearing while the people waited among the trees. After situating herself on a huge, flat-sided rock, Baby Suggs bowed her head and prayed silently. The company watched her from the trees. They knew she was ready when she put her stick down. Then she shouted, "Let the children come!" And they ran from the trees toward her. "Let your mothers hear you laugh," she told them. And the woods rang. The adults looked on and could not help smiling. Then, "Let the grown men come," she shouted. They stepped out one by one from among the ringing trees. "Let your wives and your children see you dance," she told them. And ground life shuddered under their feet. Finally, she called the women to her. "Cry," she told them, "for the living and the dead. Just cry." And without covering their eyes, the women let loose. It started that way. Laughing children, dancing men, crying women. And then it got mixed up. Women stopped crying and danced. Men sat down and cried. Children danced. Women laughed. Children cried, until, exhausted and riven, all and each lay about the clearing, damp and gasping for breath. In the silence that followed, Baby Suggs Holy offered up to them her great big heart. She did not tell them to clean up their lives or to go and sin no more. She did not tell them they were the blessed of the earth, its inheriting meek or its glory-bound pure. She told them that the only grace they could have was the grace they could imagine. That if they could not see it, they would not have it. "Here," she said, "in this here place, we flesh. Flesh that weeps, laughs, flesh that dances on bare feet and grass. Love it. Love it hard. Yonder they do not love your flesh. They despise it. They don't love your eyes. They just as soon pick them out. No more do they love the skin on your back. Yonder, they flay it. And oh, my people, they do not love your hands. Those they only use, tie, bind, chop off, and leave empty. Love your hands. Love them. Raise them up and kiss them. Touch others with them. Pat them together. Stroke them on your face, 'cause they don't love that either. You've got to love it. You. And no, they ain't in love with your mouth. Yonder out there, they will see it broken and break it again. What you say out of it, they will not heed. What you scream from it, they do not hear. What you put into it to nourish your body, they will snatch away and give you leavens instead. No, they don't love your mouth. You've got to love it. This is flesh I'm talking about here. Flesh that needs to be loved. Flesh that needs to rest and to dance. Backs that need support. Shoulders that need arms. Strong arms, I'm telling you. And oh, my people, out yonder, hear me. They do not love your neck unnoosed and straight. So love your neck. Put a hand on it. Grace it. Stroke it. And hold it up. And all your inside parts that they just as soon slop for hogs, you've got to love them. The dark, dark liver, love it. Love it. And the beat and beating heart, love that too. More than eyes or feet, more than lungs that have yet to draw free air. more than your life-holding womb and your life-giving private parts. Hear me now. Love your heart, for this is the prize. Saying no more, she stood up then and danced with her twisted hip the rest of what her heart had to say, while the others opened their mouths and gave her the music. Long notes held until the 4-part harmony was perfect enough for their deeply loved flesh. If I were Baby Suggs, if Baby Suggs were here, she would encourage us to create some distance between the white gaze and ourselves, between yonder and right here. And the song, I think, if you don't know the song, you'll get it. It's just believe I'll run on, see what the end's gonna be. Believe I'll run on, see what the end's gonna be.
What Baby Suggs does in the clearing, that's what I had been longing to do for students, to create spaces where they have permission and courage to actualize their authentic selves, to engage in sacred refusal, to reject the ideologies, the lies, the systems hell-bent on their harm. Womanism is another resurrection technology. It's one that grants courage and permission to tell the truth. Like the clearing, it refuses to let yonder have the final word about who we are. It insists that we are good, that our ways of knowing matter, and that our survival and our thriving are sacred acts. In the next episode of Black Modern Mystic, join me and 2 of my friends, Dr. Amy Victoria Atkins-Jones and Dr. Gary Green, as we dive deeper into womanist theology.
Thank you for listening to Black Modern Mystic, as made by Dr. Mommy. Oh, and don't forget to support the show. Bye.